Mel Stride has said that mental health culture has gone too far and that everyday anxiety is not a medical condition.
And it comes as Health Minister Dame Andrea Leadsom says we need to let parents have time to explore the relationship with their children. And I'm pleased to say Health Minister Dame Andrea Leadsom joins us now. Lovely to have you with us this morning. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
So, you are concerned that, this critical time for bonding has an effect on youngsters as they grow if it's not got right. However, when asked, a huge part of what parents said was impacting their ability to bond with their baby was pressure of work, people working long hours because of all sorts of economic problems that we're all going through. And it feels like the parents desperately trying to cope are going to just be beaten over the head once more.
Well, to start with, I just want to make clear what the campaign is that we're launching today, which is that in that period from pregnancy to the age of 2 is when the foundations for your emotional and physical well-being throughout your life are laid down. So your experiences in that what's known as the 1001 critical days from pregnancy to age 2 are so important. And our research with parents and carers shows that they would like more information on how to actually interpret what their baby's trying to tell them if they're crying or gazing up at them and so on. And so we're launching a campaign today called If They Could Tell You, which is all about photos and videos of babies and the sort of thing that they mean when they cry, look at you, do various different actions to help families to interpret what their babies are trying to tell them. And that is all about that early nurturing and improving the earliest experiences of babies, which help them to then go on to become emotionally secure, able to learn, and in later life, able to go on and have a fulfilling life. But to your point, Kate, about the pressures parents are under, I think that is exactly right. And what we're doing with our whole Family Hub and Start for Life programme is trying to provide one-stop shop, one-stop support in a family hub for families with a new baby to give them the help that means that they can then go on to balance their work life better with the knowledge and the help that they need.
It's a tricky one, though, isn't it? Because you've got to be there to see it. And that's, working mum myself, nothing wrong with that. But it is true, factually, that parents are having to take on more work, longer hours, sometimes second, third jobs. The promise of 15 hours of childcare for youngsters is still not there in place. And the worry about when it's going to come in and better and quality nursery is still a huge problem for parents. And on the front page of the Daily Telegraph, the mixed messages that parents receive, you have Mel Stride saying mental health culture has gone too far, that actually adults, we know, are taking a lot more time off work because of mental health issues. And he's saying, actually, we're medicalising this. We're looking at problems for this. We're turning this into as if it were a disease, when actually, a lot of the time, we should just go to work. It's good for our mental health. And what you're hearing, if you're a parent, is, I've got to work to pay the bills because you're in an economic crisis. I've got to understand my baby. Thankfully, your tools are there, but I've got to be there to see those expressions. And at the same time, welcome back to the Minister saying, go to work. And really, we shouldn't be having time off for mental health. It's not a medical problem.
Well, I wouldn't bucket those things together. I think working parents have time with their babies. We've introduced shared parental leave now. That the rights for parents to take time off are stronger than they've ever been, and particularly in that critical early period. But also, parents do make so many sacrifices to spend time with their young children, and that is great. And it's great that employers are now much more understanding, and the law has changed to to require them to protect women's jobs when they're on maternity leave, to allow them to work part-time if they want to. But you're right, there are pressures on people. And to the issue of mental health, it is very real, but at the same time, it's also true that sometimes the satisfaction and the self-respect that you get from holding down a job and bringing home a wage actually helps with light mental health issues. And I think that's the point that Mel Stride is trying to make. And that is, of course, true. And what the government's focused on is trying to provide much more support for people with mental health issues or indeed with disabilities to get them into the workplace. And that has been extremely successful. And he is setting out that we want to do more.
Andrew, it's great that you are championing this agenda. I know you feel very strongly about it, the network of family hubs. As a children's minister, former children's minister, I know how strong the evidence is. Michael Gove said to me that when he came in as Education Secretary 15 years ago, he now regrets the scaling back of Sure Start children's centres, the funding for that actually it's so important, and he didn't realise that at the time. That was a mistake, wasn't it? And do you think you've got a chance of getting a long-term cross-party consensus to carry on this work rather than the chopping and changing we've seen in the last 15 years?
Yes, well, Ed, I know that you've always supported this agenda too, so thank you for that. And actually, it is cross-party. I mean, I've been involved with early years for 27 years now, which is extraordinary. And one of the first places I was dealing with as a charity chair was a Sure Start in Oxford. And so I've always been a big fan of Sure Starts, always worked cross-party to promote this agenda. And I do believe it's cross-party. We actually had a debate just last week in Parliament about the importance of the best start for life for every baby. And cross-party, all colleagues were absolutely endorsing it. So, yes, I think that what the Family Hub and Start for Life programme does is to build on the Sure Starts. It's much more a one-stop shop than Sure Starts ever were. It goes from pregnancy through to age 19 and where there are special needs or disabilities up to 25. And it really focuses on antenatal, on health visiting, on parenting programmes, breastfeeding support, infant parent relationship and mental health support in a way that Sure Starts didn't. So I like to express it as a kind of 21st century version of Sure Starts.
Final, very quick question. I know you've got to go. You've been there, as you said, for a lot of years, very experienced member of Parliament. There's all this noise in Parliament, your colleagues saying leadership challenges. What's your message to Tory backbenchers who are kicking off in the last few days?
Well, we need to get on with the government's programme, and I see lots of colleagues doing exactly that. The great news about the big reduction in inflation, bigger than expected yesterday to 3.4%. The tax cuts for the average worker of £900.
What do you say to the agitators, though?
Well, you know, I really want people to just get on and focus on the government's programme, which is helping the economy, stopping the small boats, and really importantly in my portfolio is getting those NHS waiting lists down. And in the last quarter, the last 4 months, we've seen decent reductions, or over 200,000 reductions in waiting list times in spite of the threatened and actual industrial action. And I really do hope that junior doctors will come back to the table to discuss with government so that we can actually avoid the harms that are being done to patients by repeated industrial action. And I do wish that Labour would support that too.
Angela, so we need to let you go. Thank you for joining us today.